Chapter 3, Section 1 is about writing, graphing, and solving inequalities. An inequality is a statement where two quantities are not equal. Statement where two quantities are not equal. We have this symbol right here, which is less than. This symbol right here, which is greater than. This symbol right here is less than or equal to. This symbol right here is greater than or equal to. And this symbol might be new for you. That symbol means is not equal to. Solution to an inequality is a value that makes the inequality true. A value that makes the inequality true. So with these first ones, we want to put a greater than or less than sign in. And the greater than sign, or the sign, we're going to use either greater than or less than here. So the negative number is smaller, so the smaller sign is on that side, and that is red. -3 is less than 2. 6.5, 6.3, the 0.5 is bigger. That is red. 6.5 is greater than 6.3. This number is negative. This number is positive. So your positive number is bigger. And then 0.25 and 1/4, those two are equal. Let me have you add, call this 4b in here. And let's say you have a -100 and a -1. And if you think which one of those are bigger, with negatives it's the opposite, and the -1 is actually the bigger number. So using these symbols, we're going to graph some inequalities. First, we're going to use the less than. That says x is less than 5. And we are going to have an open circle on the 5. And we want all the numbers that are less than, so we're going to go this way to the left. This is the greater than symbol. X is greater than 5. So we're going to have an open circle right here and everything to the right. Then we have less than or equal to. And the only way this changes is, since you have the equal to sign, you need to have the solid circle. This says x is less than or equal to 5. So we're going to color in the less than, or the smaller ones. And then the opposite way, x is greater than or equal to 5. You're going to have a closed circle on the 5 and everything to the right hand side. And here's a little trick for you. If your variable is on the left hand side, then the arrow, if you consider this an arrow, it will match up with this arrow. If the letter is on the left-hand side, this arrow points in the direction. If the variable is on the left-hand side, this arrow shows you the direction. So with that in mind, number 5, b is less than negative 1.5. We are going to have an open circle. This says b is less than, so we want everything to the left. Number 6, c is greater than 2, so you're going to have an open circle and everything to the right. You notice with both of those the variables on the left hand side, so that kind of looks like an arrow. The variables on the left hand side, so that looks like an arrow. Number 7, we need to do a little bit of maneuvering first. 2 squared is 4 minus 4 is greater than or equal to w. 4 minus 4 is 0, which is greater than or equal to w. You cannot use this arrow trick now. You can if you switch it around. W is less than or equal to 0. You will have a closed circle on the 0 and everything to the left. Number 8, these numbers right here compare to 2. Those numbers are smaller than 2. Open circle, so it's smaller than. And over here, these numbers are going in that direction, so those numbers are greater than or equal to negative 0.5. On our next page, members of a crew team can weigh no more than 165 pounds. Can they weigh 170 pounds? They cannot. So their weight has to be less than, and it can equal 165 pounds. So we're going to have a closed circle right here on 165. And the weights need to be smaller than that. So everything to the left. Those are the weights that are smaller than 165. Number 11, Blimpie's employees must earn at least, the very smallest amount they can earn is $8.25 per hour. So that amount has to be bigger than or equal to $8.25. So we're going to have a closed circle on $8.25 and everything to the right is colored in. Properties of inequalities. You can add or subtract from the same quantity from both sides of an inequality, and the statement will still be the same or equal. So we're going to solve these very much like equations. We're going to subtract 9 from both sides, and that becomes x is less than 6. You're going to have an open circle on 6, and the numbers that are less than go in that direction. Number 13, you add 3 to both sides, and that becomes d is greater than or equal to negative 6 plus 3 is a negative 3. You have a closed circle here on the negative 3, and you want the numbers that are bigger than that. Number 14, we're going to add 3 to both sides. So that becomes 5.5 is greater than t. This one's different. 5.5 is bigger than these numbers. We can't use that arrow thing because our variable's on the right. So those are the numbers that are smaller than that. So 5.5 is less than t. Number 15, solve each inequality and graph the solution. You are going to divide both sides by 2, and that becomes p is less than or equal to 4. So those are the numbers that are smaller than 4. Number 16, to get rid of that 4/5, we're going to multiply both sides by 5/4. 16 times 5 divided by 4 is 20. You are going to have an open circle on your 20 and everything to the right. Number 17, the memory in Tara's super powerful camera phone allows her to take up to 20 pictures. She has already taken 16 pictures. She can take some more. It's going to be x, sorry. So 16 plus x. And she can only take up to 20. So that number needs to be smaller than or equal to 20. Now when you subtract here, that's where my 4 comes in. X is less than or equal to 4. She does not have to take exactly 4 pictures. She might take more, she might take less. She cannot take 2.5 pictures or 3 1/3 pictures. So when we graph this, it's possible that she takes 0 pictures, 1, 2, 3, or 4. The halves don't make sense here. This is called a discrete set, and I guarantee you'll see one on your test like that, where it's dots. Number 11, John can bench press 200 pounds. He wants to bench press at least 250. Now 250 is the least. This is the smallest amount. So this is going to be bigger than or equal to. When you subtract 200 from both sides, x is greater than or equal to 50. And now the fractions do make sense. Might be 50.5, 50.5, 100.2. So we're going to have a closed circle on the 50 and everything to the right.